Winter is upon us. For many, that means that the camping season is done, but for others, like myself, that means the camping season is just beginning. Winter is one of the most amazing times of year to go camping. So a little while back, I asked people to send me some questions that they might have about winter camping. So in this video, I'm going to be answering those questions. So Steve Jessam asks, why is it so damn cold? Well, the answer to that, Steve, is that at this point in the Earth's orbit, we are at a position where, because of the tilt of the Earth, which is about 23 degrees, the northern hemisphere is sort of tilted away from the sun, which makes it colder, and that is called winter. Hope that answers the question. Yeah, it's cold in winter, but there's a lot of things you can do to stay warm in the winter and make it worthwhile getting outside. I Catch Dinks asks, what is the best type of tent to pack in and out and stay warm in? There are so many different kinds of tents that you can use, and so many different situations where you might have a different tent. So if the question is, what is the lightest tent to carry in and out? Well, something like a 3 or 4 season, a 1-person tent or a 2-person tent might be what you want. Something that's easy to set up and doesn't weigh a lot. The difference between a 3-season tent and a 4-season tent mostly has to do with its strength for being able to withstand snow load on it. So a 4-season tent, at least the one that I have, it's got more of a peak on the top so that any snow that does fall on it will slide off, versus a more rounded tent that you might have for a 3-season tent, which might collect snow and then have to deal with the weight of it. There's not really much more in terms of insulation in a tent. It's more that you may have more vent holes that you can open up, because ventilation is important, especially in the winter. But yeah, you're fine with whatever tent you choose. Just depends on the situation that you're going into. I often use a big canvas tent, a hot tent, people call it, a big tent that you can put a wood stove in. Those are great, but they're bigger, they're heavier, they take more time to set up. So if you're backpacking in somewhere, you may not want to carry one of those. If you do, you're likely going to have to pull it in on a sled. But there's all sorts of options. I've camped in 3-season tents, 4-season tents, my tent style tree tents, the ones that hang in the trees. I really enjoyed camping in those in the winter. And then now I'm mostly using my hot tent, because it's kind of nice to have a nice warm place to go at the end of the day and to wake up in. All right, I have 2 questions here which are kind of related. Glenn Bullen asks, what kind of socks do I wear, or is it all in the boots? Tina Davey asks, what is the best or my favorite type of footwear for men in the wintertime? For socks, it depends on the activity that you're doing. If I'm going for a hike, I'm going to want to have thinner socks inside my boots. If I'm sitting around camp, I'm going to have some thicker, warmer socks for sitting around in. Because when you're moving, you're generating heat, you're sweating, so you don't want to have your feet get too hot and sweat too much in your boots. Wool is great. You can get really thin merino wool socks, and then you can get thicker wool socks for sitting around keeping warm. In terms of the boots, boots are very important. Again, depending on the activity. If you're going to be doing a lot of hiking, you may want a winter hiking boot, which has some insulation but is lighter weight. I typically use a bigger boot, a big boot that I can slip my foot in and not have to worry about tying up laces in the cold. They're heavier to wear, but I enjoy those because I can just slip my foot in the boot and stay warm. It's a little bit heavier when you're hiking, but that's the boot that I prefer. Diane PK asks, does the zipper even open in the cold? I'm assuming you're meaning the zipper on the tent. Yes, it will open in the cold. You could run into problems if it's been slightly warmer and there's been melt and water's got on the zipper and it freezes, or if there's freezing rain, or if snow melts on it and then refreezes. You could have some trouble with the zipper getting stuck, but I haven't had that much of an issue with my zippers on my tent getting stuck. If it does, you just bang off the ice and it should open up. Diane also asks, how do you keep your wood dry in the snow? If it's below 0, -5, -10, -15 colder, I generally don't have to worry about the wood getting wet when it's sitting in the snow, because the snow is dry. It's not going to melt. You may only have to worry about it getting wet if it's getting near zero or above zero. Then your wood might get a little bit wet in the snow. You can put a little tarp underneath it. You put a tarp over top if you're going to get snow. For me, when I'm camping now, I'm in my hot tent, so I keep a pile of wood beside my wood stove. It will dry out if it is wet. If you have a campfire, keep your wood around the campfire, and that will also help keep it dry. Diane asks another question: what temperature sleeping bag do I have? So sleeping bags, and you also asked another question: what do I keep below me to keep me off the cold? Sleeping bags and sleeping bags have temperature ratings. They're not necessarily all the same from manufacturer to manufacturer, but basically what you're looking for is something that's going to keep you comfortable in the temperatures that you expect. So I have a big puffy mummy bag, which is rated down to minus 34 degrees Celsius. At minus 34, I'm not going to be that comfortable though. It's basically going to keep me alive at that temperature. So whatever sleeping bag you have, you may also want to have a sleeping bag liner. You can get fleece liners for them. You can wear more clothes, more insulation underneath. Wear some long underwear, some merino wool underwear, something that's going to keep you warm on the inside. I also, if it gets cold, I'll use those hand warmers. Put some of those inside the sleeping bag with me, or a hot water bottle. Caution with a hot water bottle is make sure it's in something that's not going to leak. If it leaks, then you're going to have a wet sleeping bag, and a wet sleeping bag is not going to keep you warm. Another thing you can do with sleeping bags, and I've done this, if it's not going to be super cold, I bring a big rectangular sleeping bag. The ones I have are rated down to about minus 18, but I can put inside that another sleeping bag and sort of layer up, double up on sleeping bags if you need to get the extra warmth. And now back to your question about what do I put underneath me to keep me warm or keep me off the cold. You lose heat from your body in a number of different ways. Evaporation. So that's why we sweat. We sweat so that the sweat gets on our skin and that evaporates into the air, and it takes some of the heat away from our body with it. So that's why it's important not to get too sweaty when you're out in the cold, because it's going to make you a lot colder. You also lose heat through radiation. So that's just the heat radiating away from your body. When you're sitting around a campfire, you're feeling that heat radiating towards you. So right now I don't have a hat on, so I'm radiating a lot of heat out of my head. So that's why you'd obviously wear a hat if it's cold outside. Keep your body heat in. You lose heat due to convection. So it's a little windy out here. That's why we have wind chills. This wind that is blowing all the heat away from my body is going to make me cold. And then finally, you'll lose heat through conduction. That is when you have a surface against another surface. The warmer surface is going to transfer heat into the colder surface, and that's what happens when you're lying on the ground. So what I use underneath me to prevent that conduction is a number of different layers. I'll use those closed cell foam pads. You see them often blue. They roll up and you roll them out. That alone is not going to be enough insulation, but that's kind of what I put on the bottom. I'll use a thermarest pad. It inflates with a little bit of air, gives me a little bit of softness. And I'll also use some wool blankets, roll out a wool blanket and have that as insulation underneath. I also, if I'm using my hot tent, I'm sleeping on top of a cot. Now, even if you're on a cot, it keeps you off the ground, which is great, but you still have cold air underneath. So you're still going to need that insulation underneath you on the cot as well to keep you warm. So you're not conducting the heat from your body directly into the ground or into the air and getting cold. Kelly Garfield asks, how do I keep warm at night? So as I mentioned with the sleeping bag and the sleeping pads underneath you, that's how I'll keep warm when I'm sleeping. I'll also, like I said, use hand warmers or a hot water bottle in my sleeping bag with me. But one thing that's also important is physical activity. So if I'm really cold, I'm going to get up and I'm going to go for a little hike. And typically I do this before I go to bed. Go for like a 15 or 20-minute hike. That gets your body all nice and warm so that when I do get into that sleeping bag, my body is warm and it's going to warm up the sleeping bag faster than if I'm sitting around shivering before I get into bed. Then it's going to take a way longer time, much longer time for the sleeping bag to get warm and I'm going to feel cold. Stephanie asks, any tips for the homeless in the winter? Yeah, homelessness is a problem. It's unfortunate that people have to live outside, but it happens. Many have tents. Having some kind of tent as a shelter is definitely going to help. Sleeping bags, blankets, whatever you can get, warm clothes wherever you can get it, that's about the best you're probably going to get to do. Go inside if you can. If there's a place you can go inside, that's going to be the much safer option. But if you can't, layers. Bundle up on layers and get yourself warm. I wouldn't recommend trying to heat a tent. Obviously, when I camp in my hot tent, I've got a wood stove. But that wood stove, I have to monitor, watch it all the time, make sure that it's not getting too hot, because a fire in a tent is not something that you want. And you know, there's been many unfortunate incidents where people have been injured or killed because their tents burnt down. So I wouldn't recommend trying any sort of heating inside the tent. Just layer up. John Malash asks, how can you assess whether ice is thick enough to safely cross? I'm not an expert on traveling on ice, so what I'm going to tell you is just some basics for being safer on there. The safest course of action is to not cross any ice that you aren't sure of it being safe. I think you need about 3 to 5 centimeters of thickness to be safe for a person to stand on. So, I mean, you can check, I guess, by, you know, if you have a drill through the ice and see how thick it is. If you are going to travel on ice, try to avoid early and late season when it's potentially been warm and things aren't frozen or have melted and cracked and, you know, it may not be safe. Also, avoid ice over running water. Running water weakens ice. So if you're trying to cross a river, there's a river flowing underneath it. That ice is not going to be as safe as something on a nice calm lake. Also, if you have to cross any ice, stay as close to the shore as you can. Don't go way out in the middle of a lake. You know, have a stick with you so you can test the ice ahead of you. Snowshoes can spread your load a little bit so that you're not putting as much force on ice. Ice picks if you know you're going to be crossing ice, so if you do fall through, that you can, you know, sort of hopefully drag yourself out of the ice using the ice picks. If you did fall through, you've got to get warm and dry as fast as possible. So if you're on your own, I wouldn't recommend even going out on ice at all. If you're with someone that can help you, then maybe, but still getting to a place that's warm and dry, especially if you're out in the backcountry, is going to be very difficult. So take that into consideration if you're thinking about crossing ice. Falling through the ice into cold water in the winter is not good. Safe Saab asks, what type of layering do I prefer? Layering is very important in the winter. Not only to keep you warm, but to prevent you from overheating. So right now, I'm actually wearing a t-shirt, a synthetic t-shirt. Synthetic or wool is better than cotton in the cold because it'll wick the moisture from your body away from you. Wool in particular is good because even if it's wet, it will still have insulating abilities. Cotton, once it gets wet, it loses its insulating ability and you're going to be very cold. And also it takes a longer time to dry. Something like a synthetic shirt will dry a lot faster if it does get wet. So I've got on a t-shirt, I've got on a fleece mid layer, and then I've got on this parka as an outer layer. I wouldn't necessarily hike in this parka. I would get too warm. So I'll often use a lighter puffy jacket. But even then, sometimes if I'm hiking in the winter, I'll just have my base layer and my fleece on me, because you don't want to get too warm. You start getting too warm, you start to sweat. And then when you stop moving, you're going to freeze. Can I recommend any places to camp in the winter in Southern Ontario? There are so many different places you can go. I like Algonquin Provincial Park. Killarney has winter camping. Silent Lake has winter camping. Frontenac has winter camping. There are a lot of provincial parks that have winter camping of some sort, whether it's on a campground or backcountry camping. Some places also have yurts or cabins. If you do want to get one of those, be aware that they book up months in advance, so you'll have to, you know, book that really early. There's a lot of different places. What I would say is that if you've never done winter camping before, don't just go out there on your own and try it. Do it with somebody who's done it before, or do it at one of the campgrounds where there's other people around, where you have some backup in terms of you can get in your car, you can go to the comfort station where the washrooms are to get warm if things go wrong. You don't want to, your first time, go hiking out into the backcountry and suddenly realize that you're not prepared, you don't have enough stuff, and it's minus 30 and you're getting hypothermic. That is not a good situation. So if you've never done winter camping before, do it with someone that has, and do it in a place that is safe. But do it. It is amazing. It is one of the most amazing times of year to camp. It is so worth it, so worth dealing with the cold and the extra work that it takes to keep yourself warm and be prepared. But winter camping is absolutely fantastic. Get out there and try it if you haven't. So hopefully I've answered the questions that people had. If there's more, please put more questions in the comments. I'd happily do another video to answer more questions that people have about camping in the winter, just getting outside for winter activities. Also, any questions you might have for other things, even summer camping. Send me questions that you have about camping in general, and I'll make some more videos and answer those questions.